Get to JCPenney today. We're here and have all the things you're looking for, like the latest fall fashions for you and your family, from trusted brands like Arizona and Liz Claiborne to exclusive collections like Libby Edelman and Project Runway. And everything for your home, from stylish decor to brand name appliances. We also have an exclusive in-store offer just for you. Get 20% off any way you pay on select items throughout the store. Click here to download or print your coupon today. Make the smart move to JCPenney. That's getting your pennies worth. Coupon required, valid 9/15 to 10/29. In-store only on select items. Appliances and some other exclusions apply. See store for details.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hey folks, it's me, and it's a wonderful Thursday afternoon, and I'm so glad to see that my guest for today is actually here. Sorry, my apologies yesterday. I have no idea what happened. I'm still trying to check, if I could talk today, track down Jefferson and find out what happened with that. So unfortunately, my big condolences, and I'm so sorry once more that we weren't able to pull the show off yesterday. But we will be rescheduling Jefferson. Obviously, today we have the Medical Marijuana Treatment Center of Florida on the line, which we'll be getting to in just a moment. And then I want to remind everybody, tomorrow, 11 o'clock Central Standard Time, I'm going to be fitting in, luckily for me, Bridget Henrietta O'Brien, who runs Bridget O'Brien events and PR, is going to be coming on my show. She's one of my oldest and dearest friends. She's promoting an event going on in New York City on October 6th called Dinner and Blanc, which is for the benefit of a nonprofit organization right in the city. So please make it a point to listen in tomorrow at 11. I do not want to forget to remind everybody, only because it's a week away, if you get an opportunity, please, please, please make it a point to come to my two-day film screening event. It's a celebration of art and cinema taking place September 27th and 28th at Inspiration Studios. That's located on 1500 South 73rd Street in West Dallas. Most of you recognize where it is. If you're at 76th and 76th in Greenfield, go down to 73rd, take a right. You are literally right there. Ample parking. We've got seats available for up to 65 people per screening. We're doing 24 different movies, 2 industry panels, and I'm so, so proud to say that we have 2 different films on 2 different social issues, one of which domestic abuse, one on drug addiction. And I'm not proud because of the fact that it exists, but more so that we're going to be having 2 nonprofit organizations coming in after the screening so that we can collect donations as well as to get people to volunteer to help their organizations and talk about the actual issues at hand. I also do not want to forget to mention that we are very, very fortunate to be screening. It's a premiere screening of the movie The Man in the Red Bandana. For those of you who don't know who that is the story of a very young, very sweet 24-year-old man who used to work in the World Trade Center South Tower that unfortunately gave his life to save others. It's a very touching, very moving story about him, his family, how he's left a living legacy. So please make it a point to come down and watch that screening as well. So as I mentioned, September 27th and 28th. And don't forget, New York City Art is Alive Film Festival, October 26th to the 28th at the Producers Club. And lastly, before we start, in case all of you are looking for me after my kiddos open house tonight, mind you, please make it a point to stop down. One of my best friends and one of the best musicians in town are playing tonight, which is at the Thursday night Primetime Music, hosted by One Lane Bridge, which is, of course, some of my dearest friends. It's at Brewtown Eatery. I'll be at 5121 West Howard Avenue. If you don't catch me over there, I'll be over at the Havana Cigar Bar, which is 92nd or 94th in Greenfield. Marcel Goyton will be there. Phil Marish, I think, will be there. Some of the best in town will be there, so please make it a point to stop down. So those are all my announcements. Without further ado, let's get on the line and start chit-chatting.
Hello, Sin.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm nervous. You're a big deal. Oh, my goodness. I've been researching your organization and looking into you, and I have so many questions and so many things to talk about. But first of all, thanks for making some time to come on the show today. I really, really appreciate it. This is an important topic. You guys are doing some important work. So I'm going to kind of bounce around and talk about different things relative to this because my listening audience, I do have a Florida audience, but I have 20 other states. So, of course, obviously, this is a hot topic right off the bat. So let's talk about you a little bit to begin with. First of all, I need you to pronounce your name because I'm afraid to do it. I'm so afraid. I'm totally not going to insult my guest. Okay.
It's a story of my life, no worries. So my name is Claucous Alfaro. Everybody calls me Klaus, so feel free to call me Klaus if it's easier. Yeah.
Okay, I can do that. Okay, Klaus, it'll be much easier. Only because of the fact I never want to insult somebody, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is such a doozy. It's almost as bad as an Italian name. And I love my Italians, don't get me wrong, but I'm like, okay, never want to insult the guest. So we want to talk a little bit about your background. I know you come from being 10 years in the medical field, obviously. and you're a business owner yourself. So first of all, let's start with that, with the medical field. What I'd like you to address, which I think most people don't realize, is there's a difference between practicing modern medicine and medicine that is moderately and majorly important to people, meaning that years and years and years ago, talk a little bit when you started out 10 years ago, how the medical field was in terms of treating their patients and some of the more conservative measures that were going on back then, versus are you seeing any trends or changes or somewhat more of an open-minded attitude about treating patients now?
Okay. So I've always been on another side of the medical field. I've always been on a more, let's say, holistic or alternative medicine type of part of the industry. I've been doing H management, and I've been doing this for about 9-10 years already. And I founded my own company it's been over 7 years already. So we've always been on a different path of the traditional medicine, where when you have pains or aches, or when you have an issue, or when you have a condition, that's when you go and you see your doctor, and you go to your doctor for them to treat it. We are completely different. We are on we're on a preventative side of the medicine. So people come to our doctors trying to prevent any issues and to try to live a healthier lifestyle. Instead of reversing issues, we're trying to prevent issues. So we're trying to get people to live a healthier lifestyle in order to avoid having any conditions develop down the road. So that's what I've been doing, and I've been on that side of the medicine. I've never been on the traditional side of medicine since I started in this industry, and little by little, that's how I fell into this path and into this new career path that I've been in for the last year with MMTC. So that's a little bit of my background, and that's what I've been doing. Yes, I am a business owner. And I also work with medical marijuana treatment clinics of Florida. And again, these two go hand in hand. Medical marijuana, it was approved in the state of Florida back in November in the last election, and it's been put into use since January for medical purposes. So any questions that you might have, or any topic that you want to discuss, feel free to ask away.
Sure, definitely, without a doubt. Now, you mentioned, and I want to bring this up, obviously, of course, you have been a business owner, and the name of your entity is Eternity Health. So obviously, we certainly want to promote you in your endeavors as well. So talk to us a little bit about what you do under the umbrella of Eternity Health and what made you want to be a business owner. I'm always intrigued by that.
Absolutely. So Eternity Health came, it was born after being in the H management industry for about 2 years. I started developing, I was a patient advisor, basically. I dealt directly with the patients, and I brought up the patients to our doctors so they could treat them for H management therapy programs. So we specialized mostly in men, and this idea was born after developing a very good relationship with multiple patients, and, taking that risk and taking that jump, saying, hey, this is something that you can do on your own. You have a good list of contacts. You have a good list of providers. Why don't you go ahead and develop your own company and your own structure? So that's how Eternity Health was born. H management has to do with anything with wellness therapy programs and, for lack of a better word, anti-aging programs. So we work with different patients that are basically people that are trying to keep and maintain their physical health, and that want to maintain their peak physical activity. So it's people that want to stay away from aging, basically. So we're looking at people that eat healthy, sleep well, exercise. They're always aware and conscious about their health and all these issues. So it's people that really like to take care of their own body and the way they're aging, people that want to age gracefully. So we developed very revolutionary methods and with particular medicines and medications and vitamins and supplements in order for people to maintain these to stay away from these symptoms and to stay away from the signs of aging. It's a natural thing, everybody ages, but it's up to you if you want to age gracefully and if you want to age in a healthy manner. If you want to just throw in the towel and say, I'm done, I'm 40, 45 years of age, and I don't care, I'm going to get fat, I'm going to get wrinkles, I'm going to be diabetic, whatever it is, that's your own personal choice. But if you want to go the extra mile and you want to take good care of your body, you want to sleep well, you want to eat well, you want to exercise, you want to look well, And above all that, it's not about how you look, it's how you feel from the inside out. You know, if you feel good inside, you're going to project that to the whole world. You know, everybody around you is going to benefit from this, your community, your family, your coworkers, everybody around you is going to feel this energy. It's going to feel that you're positive. And by doing the programs that we manage at Eternity Health, this is going to affect in a positive manner your day-to-day lifestyle. So that's what we've been doing for the past, I've been doing this for the past 9 years. And with my company, we've been doing it with our team for the past a little bit over 7 years. And during this path and this trajectory during this time, I got to meet the people from medical marijuana treatment clinics, and I actually worked with them for in a separate project a few years ago. They had a pharmacy and they had great products. They used to work with topical products, specialized in neurology products for people that had migraines and different neurology issues, along others like pain and orthopedic issues. But I was part of their team when they had Topical RX Pharmacy, and this is how I came into how I built a relationship with the directors from MMTC, Medical Marijuana Treatment Clinics. Long story short, we had a good run, but we parted ways on good terms. And last year, about I would say between September and October, before the election was coming in, I got a very nice call from Ray, from one of the owners from the previous company, Topical RX. And he called me and he was, hey, Klaus, I was working in my office for my company, and he called me in and picked up. Klaus, how you been? Everything's good, Ray. How are you guys doing? He said, everything's pretty good. I was wondering, they're up in Tallahassee, Florida, which is about 8-hour drive from Miami. I'm in South Florida. They're all the way in the northwest part of the state. He asked me, hey, Klaus, look, I don't know if you're aware, but the Amendment 2 is coming up, and that's going to be up for voting. If this amendment is approved, medical marijuana is going to be legalized in the state of Florida, and we're already moving ahead of time, and we're building a company where we're going to have multiple clinics throughout the state, and we're going to be seeing patients for them to access the compassionate use card and for them to be able to attain their medical marijuana license or their card. Would you be interested in being a part of the team? And that was, I have heard about medical marijuana and medical cannabis becoming legal. I knew about Colorado. I knew about California and other states that was already active. And I saw that everybody was getting great results. And I always thought, I've always been very open-minded about this, and I've always been open to this. As long as people are doing it for the right reasons and, they're performing well with it, I don't have anything against it. So, I immediately told him, yes, I would be interested in the opportunity. I appreciate the offer. And you let me know, whatever you need down here in South Florida, I'm your guy. You can count on me, and I'll be here for you. So that was that. A little bit of time passed, and then the election came in. We all voted yes for the Amendment 2, and lucky for us and for the 7 million Florida residents that voted yes, the Amendment 2 was passed in our favor. So it was it was a 72% vote on yes on Amendment 2. And in January, it was put into place. So what happened with Amendment 2, it extended the amount of qualifying conditions for patients to access medical cannabis. So just basically, you didn't have to be a terminal patient anymore. You could be a terminal patient, but it extended the list to about 14 other conditions. So this basically gave larger access to people that had different conditions, and basically more access to cannabis as a medicine. So from there, what we did, we started opening up centers across the state. Our first clinic opened up in Tallahassee. From there, we went to St. Petersburg. From there, we went to Jacksonville. And then from Jacksonville, we took the jump and we came down to South Florida. We've opened 2 clinics here in South Florida. And right now we have Orlando. And we just opened up in Pensacola and Fort Walton, which is on the northwest side of the state. So about 10 clinics already for the whole state of Florida. And I'm the director for the South Florida region. So anything that has to do with Palm Beach, Broward County, Miami-Dade County, and that's a community that I direct. And I do everything, from working directly with the patients and to answering their questions, to working with our doctors, managing the clinics, staffing them, promoting them, marketing. We sponsored a couple of different here in the city. And, that's what I do. That I'm here to answer any type of questions that you might have. And if there are any patients that have any issues or that are considering applying for a compassionate use card or a medical license for medical marijuana or medical cannabis, medical marijuana treatment clinics is the way to go. We have clinics all over the state, even though we're only in Florida, and I know you're nationwide. We're focusing on the state of Florida as of now. And the way we're set up, we're becoming one of, if not the largest, we're one of the largest company in the state of Florida offering compassionate use cards for qualifying patients. So if you have questions regarding the process or, what we do and how we work, feel free to ask away, and I'm here.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I guess we should start off by talking about, obviously, of course, your organization was started in 2016, founded by Dr. Dorn, obviously. I understand that.
Yes.
So you guys have been doing this for about a little over a year or so. So my question to you is when you first started out, as I understand it, this approval of Amendment 2 was not in place at that point in time. Is that correct?
Yeah, so last year, there were very, very few patients that were able to access legally medical cannabis, and these were patients that were terminally ill. The state, I don't have the number exactly, but I'm going to venture off, and I'm going to say it could have been under 20 patients that had legal access to medical cannabis. After the amendment was passed and it was put in place in January, now this opened up a whole new spectrum for patients to walk in the door and to be able to get treatment, under a legal treatment with medical cannabis. So the number of patients started growing exponentially day in and day out. So from, let's say under 50 patients on 2016, and from January all the way up to September, which is right now today, September 21st, we're over 27,000 patients that have access to this medicine right now legally in the state of Florida.
You betcha. Now, I wanted to go through some of these different things here because obviously, just so that folks understand it, there are factors involved for qualification, meaning I know there's a residency factor, obviously the waiting period, which we're going to want to talk about because there used to be a 90-day waiting period. And then, of course, you need to be diagnosed with a qualifying condition. So maybe talk us through that a little bit in terms of these factors, meaning that when somebody presents themselves, do they need to be at least all three of these and there are things beyond that, or are those the core three factors to help them or assist them that they're qualified?
Yeah. So again, state of Florida, so we're only seeing Florida patients. So one of the requirements, the two requirements that we have in our company at this moment in our clinics is that the patient has to have a valid proof of Florida residency, and the patient has to be over the age of 18. It has to be an adult. It has to be over the age of 18 because right now dealing with pediatrics, which is something that is huge right now, it's a very, very big subject, and I can extend a little bit onto it right now. To treat a patient that's under the age of 18, it can not only be treated by one physician, it has to have two referrals. And this is something that the state requires in order to qualify this patient. So it's very unfortunate, and we are aware that there are, I don't know the number, but there's probably thousands of kids out there that could be suffering from seizures or epilepsy or whatever their condition is that could benefit from medical cannabis or from CBD, which is something that not a lot of people know about. But CBD, it's a part of the cannabis plant, and this extract is not causing any type of psychoactive effect in the body. So you won't get that quote unquote high. The patient will not be high or have any psychoactive effect from the CBD, but it'll give all the calming effects, and it'll give all the physical benefits that the patient might be looking for. So wrap it up on the pediatrics. At this point, we're not treating pediatric patients just because we need additional doctor approval. So we just said, look,
Sure.
let's just focus on 18 and over, and those are the two requirements that we have to get started. It has to be a Florida resident. It has to be over the age of 18. That doesn't mean that if we have a patient that is under the age of 18 service, it's not that we're going to treat them. But what I do, I go the extra mile for those patients, and I try to find a pediatric physician that might be willing to work with this patient. So we're not gonna close the door on them, but we will point them towards the right direction. And then hopefully in the future, it's not that it's easier for us to work with them, but the state makes it a little bit more convenient for these patients to access the medicine. This just was put into place in January, so we're a little baby right now. We're only been doing it for 7 months, so it's so new that we only have room to grow. There's only room to grow, and we are working patiently, giving the state time for them to grow their office, for them to, get more knowledge and learn more about the subject. And that way, the time frames are less. There's less hassle, not hassle, but it's easier access to the product or the medicine, and that everybody's happy, And so it's a thing that it's going to take a little bit of time. Everybody. I speak with friends, they tell me, I went in California, I got my card in 40 minutes, and I was able to get the medicine the same day. Yeah, well, this was passed in California, I believe, in 1996 or something like that, or I'm not sure, but it's over 10 years in the making. So you can't expect something that it's taken over 10 years in a great state like California for it to be up to par here in Florida in less than 10 months. So that's what we're doing. We're working hard to grow the registry. We're working hard for the state to learn, to educate, to raise awareness, and that's one of the main things that we do. We're raising awareness for all the patients to know that, hey, it is legal. You can access it if you qualify, and we're educating the people on the benefits that they can expect and how to get it. So going back to your question, the requirements for a patient in order to be able to walk into one of our clinics and get an appointment. So first has to be over the age of 18. It has to be a Florida resident, and then we divide everything into basically 3 easy steps. So the first step is determining what condition you're going to be treated for and getting your medical documentation that you've been treated for that particular condition. So let's say, for example, you have we've seen a ton of patients that have cancer. So, of course, somebody that has cancer will benefit from medical cannabis. So you bring us your medical paperwork from your doctor, and that way the first step, it's already taken care of. So you have a qualifying condition, you have the documentation to prove it. Next step, what a patient has to do, they have to call our 800 number or visit our website or call any of our local clinics and schedule an appointment. You schedule an appointment with one of our doctors, and let's say today's Thursday, you schedule an appointment for next Tuesday. You walk in next Tuesday into our clinic, you're going to bring your documentation, your valid ID, and that's about it. That's all you need to bring regarding paperwork, ID and the documents from your doctor. You're going to see one of our doctors. You're going to, hopefully you're going to get qualified, and you're going to get the recommendation from our doctor. The recommendation is very important. You have to work with a doctor that has experience in medical cannabis. There's a lot of doctors in the registry, but not everybody knows and has the expertise that our doctors have. We have a whole staff of doctors that have been studying hard, and they've been doing their due diligence to learn what's going to be the best recommendation for the patient. So what is a recommendation? It means what type of product is the patient going to take? What type of medicine is they going to take? In what presentation are they going to administer this method? Because you can go with a vaporizer, you can go with a cream, you can go with a capsule, you can go with an oil, or you can go with a cream. So depending on the patient and their condition and their symptoms, one of our doctors will give the best recommendation for this particular case in this particular patient. So that's step 2, seeing the doctor, getting your recommendation. Once we get that recommendation, we're going to input the patient into the Florida State Registry. And from there on, the patient only needs to mail their documentation over to the state of Florida. Once the state receives the documents, it approves everything. The state will send the card, which is the compassionate use card, back to the patient. And once the patient receives that card, they can go to any dispensary in the state of Florida and legally purchase medical cannabis. If they don't have a dispensary that is close to them in their area, in their county, in their city, all these dispensaries offer delivery. So they will deliver the medicine directly to the patient, and some of them, they even do it for free. So those are the three steps. Those are the three steps in order to getting medical cannabis here in Florida, and that's what we do here in MMTC. That's a service that we offer. And, other than that, our company, we have, it's not 24/7, but we have a hotline, or we have, at our headquarters, we have a call center where in regular business hours, all the patients can call in. Any questions that they have, we have trained professionals ready to help them with any questions and, how to use something, where to go, symptoms, all that good stuff. So it's not only having a brick and mortar clinic where the patient can come in and see a qualified physician. We have a team that's backing us up, that is helping us and the patient successfully complete their medical cannabis treatment. And that's in a nutshell how it works, basically, yeah.
Okay. Now, one of the things that we want to cover, obviously, is, of course, as I know, obviously, both the in-office assessments are free, as well as the e-visit, actually, we should talk about the e-visit app, because you guys have established the e-visit app, and I also know that you have extended your hours from 8 to 11, Sunday through Thursday, for the online e-visit. So let's talk about e-visits and e-visit apps. How do people get set up with that through using the app, and then how does that work?
All right, so the e-visit, we came up with the e-visit when we started back in January, when we started seeing patients. There was a 90-day waiting period that the state was requiring for every patient. So the 90-day waiting period, it's not just a 90-day waiting period. That's not what it is. It's a 90-day relationship with your physician. So what we did was we came up with the e-visit, and basically we just got that clock started between the patient and the doctor. So let's say you want to get a card, and let's travel back in time, and it's February of 2017, and we have those 90 days relationship. So the main purpose of the e-visit was establishing a relationship between the doctor and the patient, and getting that clock, that 90-day clock started, and getting that time running. So what patients did, so let's say you saw our doctor in February, so February, March, April, before those 90 days were up, you had to physically come into the clinic and see the doctor face-to-face. You have to have a physical relationship with your recommending physician. So the e-visit was a tool that we were utilizing in order to establish the relationship with the patients, but ultimately the state requires the patient coming in physically and seeing the doctor. Now that the 90 days are they're out of the picture, we still have the e-visit for multiple reasons. The first one is for patients that don't know if they will qualify or not. We have an extensive amount of information in a website where you're going to see all the qualifications or all the qualifying conditions where a patient might be eligible for a medical cannabis treatment. So if you're still questioning yourself, do I have this? Do I don't have it? I have the paperwork. I don't have the paperwork. We offer the e-visit completely free for patients to speak with a professional and to get all their doubts out of the way and to get all their questions answered and to rest assured that they're getting or not. Now, all of our appointments or all schedules or all of our the consultations that are done with the doctor, they're risk-free. So if for some reason you do not qualify for X or Y reason and you're completely healthy and you don't qualify for medical cannabis, you don't have to spend any money. You're not going to lose any money, and you will still be safe. But that's why we always encourage, especially since it's so new, we encourage the patient to do their due diligence and research. And the best way to do the research is head over to our website. It's very easy to find. It's mmtcfl.com. And you can go you can find out if you qualify. You're going to see the list of all the different conditions in there. And let's say, for example, if you've been treated for diabetic neuropathy in the past, if you've had migraine and a neurologist has given you any type of medication for this, if you had chronic pain, we've seen a lot of patients with chronic pain, and they've been, for example, let's say they've been prescribed opioids for chronic pain. That is something that very likely will guarantee the program, the qualification for you. So that's why we brought the e-visit in, and that's why we use the e-visit as a tool. Now, the e-visit, the cool thing about it is that after you see the doctor, if you want to have an e-visit with one of our professionals, you can have one, and you can ask them, look, this is working fine, this is not working fine, and you can still see a professional face-to-face over your cell phone, over your computer, and that's one of the, that's kind of the extra mile that we go for patients, having these additional services where they're going to know that if they're a part of MMTC, they're in good hands, and they're going to have, they're going to pay a bargain of the price for the service that they're getting. Yes, there is a cost involved, but the work that we're putting behind the scenes and all the data that we're entering, just per patient, and all the follow-up time that we're taking per each patient, it's very, very expensive. So these are all tools and just basically services that we're offering all of our patients.
Sure, I understand. I do. Now, as far as individuals signing up in terms of the app, now they can do that either on their phone or laptop. Is that correct? Because I believe that there's a way to sign up either online.
Yeah.
And how do they do that?
So the way to do it is, again, you visit our website, mmtcfl.com, and you're going to find a tab that it's called eVisit the Virtual Care. You're going to visit that tab. You're going to click on that tab, and you're just going to follow the steps on that in order to create. You got to create an account. And then from there, you're going to download the app, and then you're going to schedule an appointment. So in order to have an e-visit, you have to schedule that appointment. So let's say we have an appointment for an e-visit on Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So by that time, you're going to get a notification. You're going to walk into the virtual room. You're going to wait for your professional to come in, and then you're going to have that e-visit. Now, if for some reason people have additional questions on the e-visit and the way it works, I invite them to call our 800 number. It's a toll-free number, and we're going to have we have a whole group of professionals in our call center that are going to be able to walk the patients through on either they want to do the e-visit, they want to come in person, whatever the route they want to take, they will guide them and they will answer their questions. So if for some reason you don't see or you don't find the steps to follow in order to set up your e-visit online, call us toll-free, and you can set up that e-visit through a toll-free number, and you can take it from there. But what we've been seeing is people are, it's 2017 and everything's online nowadays, but since you have to have that physical relationship with your doctor, I've seen the number of e-visits start to go to lower, and everybody is coming actually in person into the clinic to get that out of the way and to get the doctor's recommendation done personally. So the e-visits, I'm not going to say that they're not as popular they're not as popular as they were in the beginning, and more people are actually coming into the clinic. And since we have clinics all over the state, we kind of make it easy for the patients. There are maybe a couple of areas in the state that we're not covering yet, but I would say that for anybody in the state of Florida, it's not going to be over an hour drive to get to one of our clinics. And keep that in mind, it's just a one-time thing. You only have to come to our clinic once for every period of your compassionate use card. So you don't have to be coming every time, every week or every other week, like you have to visit your regular doctor.
You bet. I gotcha. Now, so I understand this, and people listening in understand this. Not only have you been able to keep your costs down, but you also are in full compliance with state laws and medical guidelines and local ordinances, because I think that's important that we touch on that, because clearly there's a gray area, I think, with some people, regardless of whatever law is out there as it relates to medical marijuana. We want to ensure that your treatment center fully complies, if I'm not mistaken, with all local ordinances, all major anything relative to state laws or medical board guidelines. You guys are 100%, I'm assuming, on board. Plus, do you not have to do continuing, not just continuing education, but continue to cooperate with state and local agencies to make sure that you're in 100% compliance? Because they do check up on you for this stuff, do they not?
Absolutely. I mean, this is something that, first things first, you got to lay a solid foundation. So again, it's a new industry, and we're learning every day things here and there. But that's something that I'm very, very proud of my the team that I have behind me. We're a very solid, structured company. If you look at the directors of our company, they have, I would say, I would say about over 50 years of experience in the medical field, and they did everything the right way. You know, they got good consultants that guide them step by step on how to set up everything and all these legal issues. You know, everything that has to be put in place. So basically, at MMTC, every time we have. Hold on one second, sorry about that. So at MMTC, what we have is we basically, all the patient's information is completely confidential. Every case is handled on a case by case. Everything is HIPAA compliant. And the most important thing is that the doctor that is giving out the assessment or that is giving out the recommendation has to be qualified or has to be registered within the Florida Compassionate Use registry. So every doctor that works for MMTC, they have gone under rigorous training in order to understand and to abide the laws of the state of Florida and to provide the proper care. So this means that all of the doctors have to do an 8-hour course initially to get into the registry and be approved. And from there on, we continue educating them in order for them to provide the best service. So yes, everybody is qualified to treat a qualified patient in the state, and we follow everything to every step of every law that is required. We follow it to the T. So yeah, everything has to be done properly because this is something you can play around with, and you have to make sure that you're doing it the right way. So yeah, the patients are entered into the registry confidentially. Patients are on a one-to-one basis. They're dealing with their doctor or whomever is taking care of their documentation on a one-to-one basis where nothing is being shared with anybody else. So yes, we make sure that we're doing everything the right way. And on top of that, we have a good legal team that's giving us advice and that's making sure that we're doing everything the right way. But on top of that, everything legal is covered, but you always have to be extra sure that you're doing everything the right way. But additionally, it's learning. You want to learn, and you want to make sure that you're learning something new every day, that you're offering your patients or your customers the best service possible, and that you're making sure that you're giving them what's best for them. So our main concern is the patient. Our patients go first, and we want to make sure that we're giving them the best service as a company, as MMTC, we can give them. And on top of that, we're putting in extra time to work a little bit for the dispensaries. We want to make sure that they're going to the right dispensary, that they're going to get good quality from the dispensary. And then also we help them with the state in order for them to, for example, mailing in their paperwork. When they're going to mail in their certification or the request for their compassionate use card, we have to explain to them, look, this is the way you fill out the check. You have to put your registry number in the check so the state office your check doesn't go missing. You have to send your picture. It has to be taken with these guidelines. It has to be a passport picture. All these little details in order to make sure that a patient is not going to waste or it's going to lose any time in the waiting transition period when they're mailing in their paperwork and when they get their card back. Because if they make a small mistake, the state might deny them or it will just delay the process for them. So trust me, we're working overtime here for free basically for all the patients, and a lot of people don't realize that. We're putting in a lot of man hours into making sure that the patients are satisfied. And when a patient walks into my clinic and I greet them, I check them in, then I forward them over to the doctor, then the doctor approves them. We put them into the registry. The doctor puts them into the registry. And when the patient walks out, we're doing everything in our power, and we're sure that we're giving a five-star treatment. But when they walk out of that door, we're also helping them in order to make things right, to send the documentation right, not to make any mistakes. And then if they have any questions as to what dispensary visit, we will make sure that they go to the best dispensary that's either closest to the patient or that's going to offer them the best quality product. So, again, a lot of people say, hey, there's a cost for your service, and I can afford it, let's say. It's not that expensive, but what the cost that we're charging, it's extremely fair and it's extremely affordable if you compare it to the amount of hours that we're putting in. This is something that is for a very, very long term. And and as of now, we're just working on out of our investment. It's something that, everybody talks about medical cannabis being, the green rush and projections of billions of dollars and stuff like that. And when I mentioned to somebody that I'm in the medical cannabis industry in Florida, oh, wow, you're a big shot. That's not the case right now. Some people think that anybody that's in the medical cannabis industry in Florida is making money hand over fist. It's completely the opposite. We are putting money into the industry hand over fist because just setting up all these clinics and all the man hours and the staff and everything that we're doing in order to provide a good service, it's very, very expensive. And I feel that the patients or the potential patients or just the Florida residents are not aware of all, the sacrifice that we've been putting in. And in order for us to survive in this industry, it's to stay for a long term. And that's what I see towards the future. I see MMTC as being the leader in the physician part of the compassionate use card. And we are working very hard to be the leaders in Florida and not only be the biggest ones, but provide the best service, because you will never get to become the biggest and the best unless you're providing the best service. That's something that I think personally it's impossible. So that's what we do every day. And I'm very proud to be a part of this company. I really, really love the team that I work with. And I'm very grateful for being part of this company. I've been, some people have approached me and they're like, oh, are you interested in venturing? And I have no need. I'm very happy working with them, and I feel that, little by little we're growing every day, and the plans that we have for the future are very interesting. So we're just, doing our best and just hanging in there, and what we're looking for and what we want is we want the people of Florida need to understand that this is not going to become easier and more accessible until they take that leap of faith, not of faith, but until they take that jump and they say, hey, you know what? I have PTSD or I have one of these conditions. I have a qualifying condition. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get my card. If people are still weary and they're staying away from getting their card, even if they have to spend some money or wait some time, the state office is not going to grow. And if the state office is not going to grow, the time frame that people have to wait, it's not going to go down. It's not going to lower. And then the cost involved, it's not going to go down either. So the only way of cutting down costs and cutting down time is getting more people into the registry. So again, from January till September, we've had 27,000 patients. There was a big jump from June to August. It went from 16,000 patients to 26,000 patients. So that was always like an 80% or 70% increase in just 1 month. Now, if this number keeps gradually growing at the pace it grew between June and August, everything's going to be easier for everybody. So that's what we're pushing for. And our main focus is raising awareness, educating people, and letting people know that it's here, medical cannabis, it's legal, and as long as you qualify, you can come into one of our clinics and you will have your compassionate use card or your medical cannabis card in no time.
Gotcha. Now, we want to obviously talk about the clear. We want to make a distinction because Florida might be a little bit different because each state is different in terms of which conditions that can be helped, and I know there's a number of them. So maybe if you could just outline the ones that you most often deal with or treat, because I know there's a list a line long.
It's a long list, but I'm going to give you the ones that I personally have seen patients walk into our clinic and that our doctors have dealt with them. So we're looking at HIV and AIDS, ALS, cancer, chronic pain, Crohn's disease, diabetes, epilepsy or any type of seizures, glaucoma, herniated discs. We've seen people with MS, multiple sclerosis, a lot of people with spasms, with muscle spasms. We've seen a lot of people with neuropathy or with neurologic disorders and neuropathy. Parkinson's is big too. Arthritis. We've seen a lot of people with arthritis. PTSD. and any type of trauma, any people that have had any type of trauma where it's giving them any type of chronic pain, those are the biggest conditions that we've seen. Those are just a few. There's a lot more, and there's a lot of other health problems that are out there that people can come in and they can get treated for. But again, our recommendation, if somebody's on the fence, if they don't know if they're going to qualify or not, visit our website. Again, mmtcfl.com. You're going to click the tab, find out if you qualify, and you're going to see there's basically a questionnaire in there that's going to either pre-approve you or disqualify you.
Gotcha. I understand completely. Now, we also want to mention something else because I believe that you're affiliated. I note that there is an event coming up actually on the 27th in Orlando at the Embassy Suites. That's the Medical Marijuana Awareness Days. Now, are you guys partnered with things like that, or do you participate in that? Is that something that you're involved with?
Absolutely. So those are medical marijuana awareness days. These are educational seminars that we are hosting together with other organizations, like some of the dispensaries. We partnered together, and what we're doing is we're setting up talks throughout the state where we invite people over to come and listen. How is the process involved into accessing medical cannabis? So what we're doing is we're hosting all these talks. We invite potential patients to come in, sit down for a few hours, and listen how it works. So the main thing behind these awareness days conferences that we're holding, it's to raise awareness and educate people on where we are at right now and how can they access medical cannabis in the state of Florida. So I invite you to go and visit our YouTube page. We recently opened a YouTube page, and I believe we have our Medical Marijuana Awareness Day conference from Pensacola. I believe that was about a month ago. And you're going to see some of our staff members just talking and explaining what it is. What we are working very, very hard is we want to raise awareness and we want to educate people. So for me, it's already normal. I already know how it works. I already know what's going on, and, it's my day-to-day. But it's very funny because going back to the vote that happened in November, Amendment 2, 72% of the people voted yes. You go to the numbers, we're looking at 7 million people that voted yes on medical cannabis. But out of the 7 million people, I would say about 6 million of them, they don't know that it's legal. So when you bring it up to somebody, they're like, oh, yeah, I voted yes, but medical cannabis or medical marijuana is still not legal in the state. And then that's where we come in, and these talks like medical awareness, cannabis awareness, are being held. So people know that, hey, yes, you voted yes, the Amendment 2 passed, and since January, if you have a qualifying condition, you can legally obtain medical cannabis. So that's one of our main concerns at this moment, and that's going to be something that we're going to be working very hard for the first few years. It's raising awareness and educating people and letting them know, hey, it is here, it is legal, and as long as you qualify, you can come to one of our clinics, get your medical cannabis card, and then head over to one of the dispensaries and purchase your medical cannabis.
Nice, very nice. Now, I don't want to forget because somebody had sent me a message, actually, because they knew that I was talking to Marijuana Medical Treatment Center, and so she said, there's one of the listeners out there that has, and I don't know if you can answer this question, but I figured I'd pick your brain since you're here. In terms of individuals who might be suffering from things such as depression or anxiety, is medical marijuana even an option for them? And if so, how do they proceed going about venturing into something like that? Because I wasn't 100% sure.
So if somebody I've seen patients that have come in with general anxiety disorder. Again, if you've been treated for this condition by a physician, if you've gotten any type of prescription, any type of treatment from your physician, if it's anxiety, you can bring it in and prove that with the documentation, show a doctor that you've been treated for anxiety, and there's a very, very big chance that you will be qualified for medical cannabis. So yes.
Really? Okay, gotcha. I wasn't quite sure. Like, if there are, do you know of any conditions? I guess that's really what we should say is, are there precursors, meaning if there's anyone out there with conditions that aren't necessarily recognized as being helped by medical marijuana? Are you aware of any of those or any ones that might be much more challenging to get treatment relative to that?
Conditions that are related to anxiety, I have not seen anybody get treated for depression, so I would say no on depression.
Okay.
But related to anxiety, I know that GAD, generalized anxiety disorder, it's a condition that might be eligible for medical marijuana recommendation. Psychiatric conditions, PTSD, all the way down to restless leg syndrome. These are all conditions that are familiar. And, I don't want to use the term mental conditions, but these are psychiatric conditions or psychological conditions. So, yes, they are familiar, and they could fall into the same, under the same tree. Again, the most important thing here, Sin, is if they have been treated for this condition, they can bring in their documentation, and that I'm not going to say it's going to guarantee, but it's gonna raise the probability for them for the probability of them getting the recommendation. Again, if they come in, what we want to do is we want to help the patients as much as possible. It's under the doctor's discretion, and that's not only our doctors. Any doctor that's providing medical cannabis treatments, it's under his recommendation, and you're going to have a one-on-one consultation that is completely confidential with your doctor. And your doctor is going to be the one who's going to call the shot and is going to say yes or no. So if you want to get approved and if you want to get your compassionate use card, I suggest you to do your due diligence, visit our website, look at the qualifying conditions, and find and get the paper. It doesn't matter if the paperwork gets old. If you were ever treated for a condition and you got any type of prescription or any type of treatment from a medical doctor, bring that documentation over to a doctor, and that will increase the chance for you to get of you getting a recommendation.
Gotcha. And I don't want to forget to mention this as well. In terms of you, meaning if an individual wants to make an appointment at a specific location, would you advise it would be easier and quicker to go online, make that appointment, or should they call in, or what's the best method to do so? Because since I'm gathering you have a large volume.
Okay, so we have locations all through the state. I think the best way, and my recommendation for a potential patient or somebody that's interested, I would invite them to call the 800 number. I would invite you to call the 800 number and just get it done with. Sometimes when you go online, it's going to delay the process a little bit. So you can go online and you can submit your information, and somebody's going to contact you back. But it's better if you do it live through the phone with somebody that's gonna speak to you, and it's gonna tell you, hey, I'm in the Jacksonville area. Where do you recommend me to go? Well, you can go to our Jacksonville Beach clinic, and you can get your appointment done over there. So again, on our website you can find our 800 number. But if it's okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and give it to our listeners. It's 844-682-8261. So the number again, it's 844-682-8261. And you can call there anytime during business hours. If for some reason the lines are busy, you can leave a message. You will get a call back within the hour. And being in Florida, it's very important for you to know we also speak Spanish. So, if you're a Spanish listener, se habla español. So he can call in, and, we're ready to help any type of Florida resident. And if it's only questions that you have, feel free to call in. We'll be happy to help you. We have a full team ready to help you out. We're one. Now I'm going to get into something that's a little bit, controversial. Something that I want to get off my chest. We're a solid company, and we have a very, very solid structure, and we have different departments that are handling different areas of the clinics or of the business. Now, I've seen out there a lot of competitors, and they're preaching a lot of different things, and when you pick up that phone and you call that competitor, you're gonna call an 800 number, and it's gonna be some random guy picking up the phone out of his cell phone. You don't even know where he's located. So there's a lot of these clinics, with air quotes, that are offering and preaching services, and they don't have a brick and mortar office. They don't have nowhere you can go. They're putting out bogus addresses out there. They have an 800 number and they have a cost. But when you call them, what they're doing is they're just referring you to a random doctor that they have never even met before. They don't even know the ethics of this doctor. They've never worked with this doctor. And that for us is very important. We have a staff that is our staff, we have our own doctors, we have our own clinics, and if you come to MMTC, you're going to know that you're going to be walking into the right place and you're going to be walking into a safe place. This is not something that, you're going to find other places that are going to list you, hey, we have 20 locations in Florida, but when you start looking up these locations, they're not under this company's name. It's just like a satellite location. So that's something that kind of, not upsets me, but makes me a little bit sad. People are trying to take advantage of patients that are in pain, people that are suffering, they've exhausted all of their options. They're taking 20, 30 different medications a day, and nothing helps them. And medical cannabis might give them some relief or an escape or just reduce the pain that they're suffering. And for some reason, they call the wrong place, and they're either, I'm not going to say that they're going to get played or anything, but look, you're not going to get the best service. You're not going to get the service that you deserve. And for those reasons, I invite you to work with MMTC, because we are real, legitimate, ethical providers, and we're here to stay. We're here for the right reasons, and our number one concern is the patient. We want to make sure that the patient is satisfied and that the patient is, it's out of pain and that it's getting good care. Just don't pick the first clinic that you come across just because they're $20 cheaper, or they might be closer to you. This might be closer to you. They're just going to send you to a satellite office that they're not specializing in cannabis only. They're doing cannabis, but they're seeing 30, 40 other patients a day for 100 other different problems. So they have no clue what they're doing in the cannabis treatment. Now, that's one more thing that I cannot, that I cannot stress enough. Here at Medical Marijuana Treatment Clinics, we only specialize in cannabis treatments for our patients. We're not offering anything else other than cannabis therapy treatments for our patients. So if you're a doctor and you're not a cannabis certified doctor and you're seeing patients that might benefit from cannabis treatment, you can feel free to refer your patients over to MMTC, that we will not provide them any other service other than cannabis treatment. That's the only thing that we do, and that's our specialty. So if a patient walks through our doors, they're going to get the right treatment, and they're going to be working with a professional that's going to be doing what's right for them. And it's not something that's writing a script for, who knows, 5 other conditions and then cannabis and then 10 other conditions. No, we're only doing one thing. We're sticking to that one thing, and we want to make sure that we're the best at it.
Understood. Gotcha. Now, I don't want to forget the most obvious thing, which is I'm going to read off the different ways for the folks to be able to find the Medical Marijuana Treatment Center, and when I get finished, just let me know if I've forgotten anything. The website itself is www.mmtcfl.com. You have a Facebook page, which is MMTCFL, the same thing with your Instagram handle. And, of course, you are also located on Twitter, which is at MMTCFL, and, of course, obviously, which we talked about, which is the eVisit app, which you can go onto their website, or you can go onto, if I'm not mistaken, iTunes or Google Play to be able to get the app. Have I missed anything?
That's all for social media. We have different channels for social media on Instagram and Facebook, but those are our main channels. And you can find us on all of those channels. And the 800 number again, 844-682-8261. Again, I believe that's the best way. There's nothing, the technology nowadays, everybody likes to text and all that stuff. But when you speak to somebody directly, you're going to be able to cover so much more ground. So I strongly suggest that people call our toll-free number, and you'll be able to get somebody with expertise and knowledge that's going to point you in the right direction. It's going to be able to take care of you.
You betcha. Absolutely. Gosh, this has been terribly informative. I cannot thank you enough for all of this information, obviously. just to let you know, as well as the folks that are listening in about 2 hours or so, this was a live episode, and it'll become archived, which means that not only will it be on my Blog Talk Radio channel, and I'll send you guys, obviously, a copy of this link, but I also take it and put it onto my YouTube channel, so people can go back and listen to it at any given point in time, obviously. And I don't want to forget to mention, folks, if you're in the Orlando area, like we were talking about, there is a medical marijuana awareness day on September 27th at the Embassy Suites Orlando from 1 to 4 and 6 to 9. So if you're around the area and you want to stop by, certainly go ahead and make it a point to do so, obviously. And as we mentioned, of course, the Medical Marijuana Treatment Center of Florida, which I have posted up all your different locations, et cetera, please go in and visit them. I cannot thank you enough for spending this hour with me. I truly, truly appreciate it. Know that my door is open. If you need anything at all, feel free to stop by and pop in and come talk to us.
Thank you very much. I mean, this hour went by really, really fast, and we.
I know, right? It goes quick.
I mean, we should do it again because there's one big subject that we didn't get a chance to talk to, and that's the dispensaries. And I think that's a big part of it because after our patients come out of our clinic, they got to go to a dispensary, and there are dispensaries all throughout the state. And they're coming. There's a lot of them that are coming. They're building and they're opening up. As a matter of fact, I'm finishing this up, and 2 hours from now, I'm going to be in an inauguration, the grand opening for a dispensary here in Miami, and it's going to be in downtown Dateland. So I'm pretty excited about that, and I'm looking forward to all the dispensing organizations opening up their stores and giving the patients more access to this medicine. The more dispensaries that are out there, the more patients are going to be interested in this, and more patients will come to MMTC. So anything you need, feel free to visit us. I appreciate your time, Sin. And
Thank you.
I don't know if there's anything else that we need to add.
No, for right now we're all good. As a matter of fact, I think certainly I'll be in touch, and certainly, as you mentioned, there's 100 different topics that we can certainly talk about. But I think we've given them a good base in terms of who you are, what you're doing, what you have to offer. And I just can't thank you enough for taking the time to talk to us about your facility. And good luck to you.
Thank you very much. Absolutely. Thank you for your time, and I'll talk to you
Anytime.
soon.
Okay, sounds good. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, folks, there you have it. One more time, we don't want to forget to go through the drill. Obviously, that was the Medical Marijuana Treatment Center of Florida, their actual website, www.mmtcfl.com, the Instagram, MMTCFL, as well as their Facebook page, and they also have a social media Twitter, which is at MMTCFL. I do not want to forget to mention Maru Guinness of AD Ventures, and that's ADD Ventures. Without Maru, this interview would not have been possible, so I thank you so very much for taking the time and coordinating me with your client. I appreciate that more than I can tell you, because without clients, I don't have a show. Without listeners, I don't have a show for that matter. So, folks, I don't want to forget to say thanks so much to everybody for listening in. Again, another reminder, tomorrow at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time, Bridget O'Brien will be coming on to speak about Dinner LeBlanc in Long Island, New York City on October 6th. So she'll be on tomorrow, one of my favorite people in the world. I'm so excited. And it looks like Jefferson got a hold of me. So Jefferson Hawkins with the book on Scientology will be visiting our show on Tuesday. So as you know, my big film event is next week. So Tuesday and Friday are my only shows, just 2 shows next week to round out the rest of the month. So we'll talk to you guys tomorrow again. Want to remind everybody, Brewtown Eatery tonight, otherwise Havana Cigar Lounge. Come and see me at both places. Thanks again for supporting and listening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care.